All right. Good evening, class. So Monday was a holiday. I promised you a video, so here it comes. So we are on lesson 4. For those of you who received a 0 on lesson 3, please take a look at the notes. Email me an updated version of your code, leveraging. Make sure you attach your file as a .txt file. Office or Outlook 365 removes .py files, and I will not receive them. So send me a .txt version of your code. Let's see. Other than that, if you're still having problems doing challenges, email me. Let's see. There's no midterm. I use your lesson 4 script as a midterm. So do your best and use everything we've learned up until now. That's about it. That's my guidance there. Let's check out lesson number 4. So functions. Let's dive right back into them. Couple things. Let's see. I want to show you this particular one. Let me open up a shell here, push it off to the side. So here I defined 3 functions. I defined one called gather fn, first name, no arguments. Inside here, we simply ask what's your first name, and we return it. I defined a second function, gather ln, last name. We return ln. Third function, gather name, argument x equals gather first name. So I said this variable equals run this function. And then same thing for y, run this function. So in essence, x is now going to be my first name and y is going to be my last name. And here I print my first name, print my last name, and then I say your full name is first name, last name. And then I say full name equals first name plus a space plus last name, return full name. And here, now this is just all in memory. Nothing's been ran yet, right? That just goes right in the memory. Now right here, I have full name equals just a variable equals gather name. So what should happen here is we should receive what's your first name, what's your last name. It should print out my first name, print out my last name, then print out my full name is, and then say nice to meet you with my full name. Let's track this. Ready? Hit F5. What's your first name? Zach. Last name? Whiten. This right here is this. The next line, of course, is Y. My full name is that. And nice to meet you, full name. It works like a boss. So that's how another way that you can use functions is you could use them to answer arguments for another function. Kind of cool, right? Let's take a look at these group exercises. So let's roll some dice. So all I did was cut and paste the requirements, made it a comment, single quotes. From random, I imported random integer. So now I don't have to do random.randint. I can just call on randint directly. And I defined a function called roll. I said for each dice in my range of 1, so that means stop at 1, so 0, so 1 dice. Roll 1 equals randint, so roll 1 is going to be a random integer between 1 and 6. Roll 2 is going to be a random integer between 1 and 6. I total my both rolls, roll 1 and roll 2, and I print you rolled a roll 1 and a roll 2 for a total of total. And then I also have my play again function, which is defined. Would you like to play again? Yes or no. If play again equals y, or lowercase y, roll, which calls on roll and fires it again, or else, thanks for playing. A couple things wrong with this. There's no mainline logic. There's no main function, right? So in order to get away with that, we could do define main, and then put roll here, right? And in theory, roll will call, play again, everything would be perfect. And this down here wouldn't be roll anymore. It would be if double underscore name is equal to quote double under main. And if you're having problems knowing what this is, read my last video. And then this says, we'll call it main. So all this goes into memory. Nothing happens yet until we do our validation and then run our function. Let's give it a whirl. Hit F5. Must be saved. Good to go. You rolled a 2 and a 2 for a total of 4. Would you like to play again? Let's play it wrong. Oh man, I clicked in the wrong window. Let me run it again. Boop, boop, boop. Let's say yes, yes, no. Excellent. Works as designed. So that's one way of how you can leverage rolling multiple dice with one function and calling on 2 separate rolls of one die in reality. But you can do this multiple different ways. Let's check out the other one. Let's do the math quiz. And once again, I just cut and pasted the requirements. Once again, I import a randint from random. I set some global variables. I set correct to 0 and wrong to 0. That way, if I call on them in any of my functions, they'll pull the 0 and update that variable value. So I defined PA or play again. Once again, this all just goes into memory. We didn't call it anything yet. Play again. Would you like to play again? Yes or no? Now this time I put yes/no, and they have to type in the whole word, right? And if not, it calls on main. Well, my main function is a different place. No big deal, right? Best practice is up top, but you can really define your main function anywhere. Excuse me. My else, thanks for playing, number correct, number wrong, so on and so forth, right? So the main function calls up my globals, correct and wrong. So it pulls these into this function, and now this function can update those global values. They're made available. They're not local. They're made available to the main function. I have an add-in. That's one of the things that you add, right? One of the numbers is called an add-in. So added 1 is a random integer between 100 and 500. Adding 2, same thing. Total equals add-in plus add-in, right? Print, this gets a little tricky, but you can figure out how to space it and use your fun-filled stuff we learned in print to make it all look nice. New lines and spaces and plus signs, all that fun stuff. Answer equals input, which would be a blank line. And if answer equals total, you're correct. Add correct plus 1. Total plays correct. Play again. If you're wrong, update the wrong. Update how many you got wrong. Play again. All this is in memory. I do my main namespace check. Call on main. It fires. Let's give this a run. So, oops, my bad. Oop, go away. There we go. So let's see. I hope I put this in the right spot. We'll find out. So let's do some quick math. 9, 12, carry the 1, 429, right? 429, 429. Enter. You're correct. Total plays 1 correct. Would you like to play again? I'm going to say yes. I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3 here. Correct answer is 458. Incorrect 1. Would you like to play again? No. And when I hit no, it replies with how many I got correct, how many I got incorrect. Go away. Go away. How many I got correct, how many were incorrect, and total rounds played. So those are the group exercises. There are multiple ways to do it. These are some fun ways I came up with over the time to get these done. Experiment, have some fun with them. Practice your global variables, your local variables. Understand what mainline logic is. That means that if double underscore name equals double underscore main, definitely use main functions. It's good practice, and it's makes things a lot easier for people to read. Like, okay, this main function fires everything, and everything else is defined before it, right? Somewhere before it, logically before it, not physically, right? And that's about it for those three. Once again, be weary of your grades, be weary of your challenges. Make sure you're using the right links. Make sure you're using the right format. Make sure you're using the right script naming convention, and your template. All those are the announcements. This is an online class. The announcements are how we communicate. And once again, all discussion questions, you must critique at least 2 other students' work. A critique is not, I like your code. A critique is on line number 48. Why did you use this? I found that interesting. We didn't learn that yet. Why are you using it? How did you learn how to use it? And what does it do? Or you can say things like on line number 8, how you accomplish this goal. I used the for loop, used the while loop, interesting contrast. Start to critically think here. Let's talk about AI. So some of you are wondering, well, excuse me, why do I need to know this? AI can do it for me. Well, I'll tell you why. To do more advanced things with AI, you need to know how to do the fundamentals. Because how are you going to trust code that AI generates for you if you can't read it? And how are you going to ask AI how to do something more complex if you don't know the fundamental tools? So you need to know the fundamental tools and how to critically think to achieve a higher level of intellect out of AI. Right now, you're basically asking it stuff like it's a 5th grader, 6th grader, an American 5th or 6th grader, right? Most. Now, think of that. Sit back, chew on it, go, am I prompting correctly? Am I even using it correctly? Is it the tool for me? I'll put some decent links in the announcements about how to become a good prompt engineer. Because I'm not telling you not to use it. I'm just telling you, learn the scripting fundamentals. That's what this class is about. Master the fundamentals, and then have AI generate you more complex things based off your fundamentals. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, then you might want to rethink a career in IT. This week I'm going to something called Cyber Beacon. This weekend, I'll put out the date that we're going to discuss cybersecurity in this class. It's a bonus online meetup. It's not mandatory. I'll put the date and time out. I'm going to have a guest speaker join me, and we'll answer questions from the class about how to get into cybersecurity, what makes a good resume, whatever questions you folks have. But that'll be coming out this weekend. So check your email. And other than that, have a great evening. Should be done. Have a good one. Talk to you guys soon. Talk to you on Monday. Let's see if I want to do this. Yeah, I'll do this. I'll stop the recording.